This is peak Overwatch.
Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, what you've all been waiting for.
And now it's go time.
Here we go.
Bloody hands, my eyes wide, I got one chance. No sleep till I'm enhanced. Fight hard to keep my stance. Knuckle up, time to buckle up. I got one shot and I won't stop. One goal for the joyride. I'm a champion, move aside.
Oh, okay.
Are you kidding me?
Taking over the game.
What am I watching? They might just be doing it.
He's a god. He's a god.
Yeah.
Oh!
Full force, I'm unleashed, so don't speak. Grandmaster, don't sleep. Victory, it tastes so sweet. Knuckle up, time to buckle up. I got one shot and I won't stop. One goal for the joyride. I'm a champion, move aside. Let's go.
Welcome everyone to the third week of the Overwatch League June Joust tournament. Today's gonna be a great day, Jaws, as we see the Hangzhou Spark hosting the first homestand event in a very long time for today's APAC matches.
Yeah, something like 400 days or so since they last had a homestand, and my god, the stadium looks insane, Vicky. Like, actually insane. If you haven't already, probably worthwhile checking out the Spark Twitter page. They've got a ton of photographs up already of the venue itself, of all the people lining up to come in, and just, yeah, all bits and pieces from like behind the scenes and stuff too. It looks incredible. And Vicky, I just can't believe we're seeing Overwatch League live on stage. And do you know, actually, funnily enough, who hinted at something earlier this week, or maybe yesterday or today? Hastro as well. He was like, wouldn't it be cool if we had a Dallas homestand? I was like, oh my god, is it finally happening? Like, are we actually getting homestands coming back? Like, this is crazy. This is going to be awesome. I mean, the stage looks crazy. The audience are going to be just popping off, which is something obviously we all kind of miss about those kind of events.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic. I'm so excited to see how things are going to play out, especially looking at everybody dressed up and, you know, feeling comfortable, getting back in their groove. And of course, you guys, we've loved seeing some of your artistic creations this season on the fan art gallery by Coca-Cola. So don't forget to submit your favorite Overwatch League player enjoying a nice Coca-Cola beverage. So definitely make sure to submit that down below from overwatchleague.com/art gallery.
Yeah, you can, or you can just draw Solo 2L over and over again.
Yeah.
That is up to you. Yeah, today is going to be a great day, honestly, Vicky. We've got some interesting games coming up for you. Philadelphia Fusion, who have been rather lackluster at the start of the June Joust, up against the Charge, of course. Let's have a look at the leaderboards currently for the qualifiers, though. This is, of course, the qualifiers presented by Xfinity. Shanghai Dragons, they're already through. They're 3-1 with a 5+ map differential, so they're looking pretty good. Spark aren't currently through yet, although it's looking rather likely, especially considering their opponents in the next couple of days. And then you look at the middle of the pack, there is 3 teams right now at 1-1. The Hunters only just below the Seoul Dynasty and the Guangzhou Charge. They are -1 map differential. So it's really up to one of these teams to kind of separate themselves from the pack. New York is also looking really good too. Obviously 2-2 with a +1, not too bad at all. But that can be disrupted over the next couple of days at this homestand, Vicky.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how that's going to play out, especially seeing how a lot of these teams are losing time to actually pop off here in the June Joust tournament. Seeing
stage,
the first
Vicky,
match.
by the way.
Oh, it's so exciting. Jaws, I'm honestly jealous. And look at these cosplayers. What?
Yep.
They get a show in person. Jaws, do you know I have not even been able to perform in my first homestand event yet? And seeing this is quite literally making me jump.
Oh my goodness. It truly is a thrill. It does remind me all the way back in the start of 2020 when me and Hex did New York and Washington. Just unbelievable events. The crowd is just absolutely electric. You can see here as well. They're looking good. All the cosplayers showing off their skills. Look like they're about to go to war. There you go. Heroes never die. It looks great.
Bring it back.
Does. I'm a little bit speechless, I'm going to be real. A little bit. I've got a couple of tears in my eyes as well, Vicky, looking at this giant stage. And it does remind me, actually, of the Overwatch League studio way back when. The way the monitor is kind of laid out in the back and the big view that the crowd is going to get.
It's so nice to see that the Hangzhou Spark are quite literally sparking out the competition. They're starting things off, and I think this is such a great way to introduce homestands coming back again. Shout out to the Hangzhou Spark. Make sure you check out their social media. This is their live event that they're hosting here in Hangzhou, China, and it's so nice to see these cosplayers come out, putting on a show for everybody in the crowd, making sure everyone feels comfortable too here, while they are going to be able to watch some great Overwatch League action live.
Yeah, of course they'll all be cheering, I think most of them at least, for the Spark, who are, like I mentioned before, very, very close to making it into the main event, the June Joust, which is coming up in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, all the effects too. Man, the light looks so good. Becky, I don't know what to say, man. This is just crazy.
Looks so nice.
Let's quickly touch on actually the games that's coming up though. I mean, today we've got the Hunters and Seoul a little bit later on, but first we have the Charge and the Fusion. The Charge, I think right here, they could pick up a fairly... Oh, okay, that Reinhardt's pretty sick, actually. Not bad,
that
not
is
bad.
so cool.
I love the Reinhardt cosplayers, by the way. At BlizzCon, every single year that I've been, there's always been Rein cosplayers. And they're either ginormous human beings anyway, or they put, I don't know, blocks on their feet or something, so they're really tall, you know. It's crazy. Absolutely ridiculous. You see, of course, all the players there as well. Signature sign too. I saw Godspeed on Instagram a little bit earlier, just on his way to the venue. The crowd is just going absolutely crazy. So you best believe there's going to be a line of about 200 people waiting for signings after this as well.
Oh, that's such a good way to start off the competition too. Again, week 3 here in the June Joust. You pulled me out of the I was just hypnotized by how big this arena is, and like the crowd and the energy just bursting through the venue. But you know, taking a look at our upcoming series that we're first going to open up the APAC region with, it's going to be the Guangzhou Charge versus the Philadelphia Fusion. And you may note a little bit of the Charge and what we're expecting to see. I mean, after the meta that we had witnessed go down earlier on yesterday, Jaws, we spoke a little bit about it off camera. I want to get your opinion on what we're anticipating now going into the APAC region, specifically our first series between the Charge and the Fusion.
Well, honestly, it's a little bit hard to tell, honestly, because there's normally a trend with the APAC teams that they'll opt for more kind of a dive style, really super hyper aggressive kind of thing. But we've seen different looks from them in NA, and NA now the meta seems to be kind of solidified with the Reaper and the Echo, the Lucio and the Moira, and the Winston and the Diva. That seems to be what the meta is currently, at least the NA region. The APAC region, are they going to follow? Maybe they will. Historically, that's not always been the case. Sometimes it's been NA who follows kind of the APAC region, the APAC region follows the NA. And honestly, it wouldn't be bad right now for Fusion to do this at all. And I'm sure you've seen on social media already, but EQO is actually starting today as well. And for me, Toby, Mano, Winston, Lucio, like this team I think can run that comp pretty effectively. And Alarm too is a fantastic Moira. I don't think it takes crazy amount of like skill to be like a top tier Moira kind of thing. Your Coalescence charge has to be up there with the other Moira, plus your tracking on the Coalescence for sure. But he is a fantastic support player, and he's going to be able to pilot Moira to the high, like to the rafters in terms of skill. But I don't know, like I said, tough to say, but Philadelphia Fusion, if they kind of copy this NA style, which we've seen in the last couple of days, I think they're going to be able to pull this one out. But the problem is, Vicky, they've been in such a slump recently. They have not really found their groove at all. It's the first time we're seeing EQO dive in as well to the Fusion, and the Charge, they've been gifted with quite a nice schedule too, and this could be a nice, easy win for them if Philadelphia Fusion are still not performing up to a lot of people's expectations.
I think, though, with EQO coming into the mix for the Fusion, things are going to start kicking up for them. I have faith in the Fusion, despite the rough start that they've had within this month. Obviously, now EQO coming into the match is going to allow this starting roster to tell us that they're going to be wanting to run that NA rush-style composition that we had seen earlier, with EQO on the Echo and then Rascal on the Reaper. So I'm looking forward to that. Although, looking at the Charge side of things, I'm not too sure what to anticipate unless they're going to go for what they've been been feeling confident with. We also noted, and I do believe Jake had actually touched up on this on a video of his, where he was talking about where right now the meta seems to be more stabilized within the Orisa meta, but at the same time, after what we witnessed earlier on yesterday, I don't really know if I could see that happening. Although I do think, I guess it depends on the map and the team where their strongest feat is. Depending on if that team has a really strong Winston dive, I think that is going to be really difficult. Rather, the rush style composition that we've been seeing integrated with the Moira and Lucio.
It's quite interesting too. You speak about the Orisa. Something that Avala and was speaking from the Mayhem and the Paris Eternal was for a team that's not going to be able to mirror the Moira and the Lucio with the Winston and the Diva. It's almost better off just going to the Orisa comps because you're going to be able to execute that a whole lot easier. The tippity top teams are going to be ones that want to run the Moira and the Lucio and the, I'm not sure what to call it at this moment, Slambulance maybe. What have we been calling it actually? Copy goats or something. I can't remember. Dupe
discount
goats.
Yeah,
it's like dupe goats or whatever because there's like 3 tanks for the Echo. But regardless, it's something that they brought up and it's quite interesting, really, because if you think about the Orisa, APAC have been playing this for a fair while. Like we've seen a little bit of Orisa and Wrecking Ball from teams like the Hunters and whatnot as well.
Or even
let's have a look at
from the Seoul Dynasty. It was very
strange.
Hog
from Seoul Dynasty too. There very well could be a situation where we're just seeing a completely different meta, and a meta that we've seen from APAC over the last couple of weeks. It is hard to tell sometimes week by week what is actually going to happen because the meta has so little time to evolve, so it's very volatile, especially when the hero pools come in. But as you can see now, the Charge lining up on stage. I bet the players are feeling great too as well, Vicky. Stepping back onto a live stage, playing in front of a crowd again. That must feel, well, you must feel on top of the world, really.
Yeah, especially after the performance that we had seen from the Charge coming into the June Joust. They basically looked like a different team, honestly. Among their biggest improvements compared to how they did last month, Kariv, who's on the starting lineup, was on a tear, was able to get so many crucial sleeping darts and biotic grenades. But taking a look at the starting lineup here, Jaws, Eileen, Choi Se-won, Rio, Krong, and Mandu. Now, I also am curious to see how this is going to play into Rio and Krong as the starting tank lineup for the Charge.
Yeah, again, they could opt for this kind of double shield too. It might just come down to map dependence, honestly. I'm very skeptical of what's actually going to happen. This is the problem when NA has kind of solidified a meta and then maybe APAC, like I said before, take a leaf out of their book. But like I mentioned previous, Vicky, with the Charge's schedule, they've been looking pretty good. I mean, they have taken wins off of teams that you'd expect them to kind of take off, NYXL and the Valiant. The Fusion are really going to be their stopping post here. This is going to be the test for them at the end of the day. As you can see, the Fusion, I believe they're still, well, we're going to wait and find out. But I was peeking on the feed that we have, and they were peeking to EQO's camera and whatnot, kind of setting all those up. And they're, of course, going to be in Korea, I believe, still. Hopper and Toby still don't have portraits, by the way, which is always quite funny. But it's good to see EQO back in again as well. And like you said, Vicky, this Echo and the Reaper looks like something that the Philadelphia Fusion are going to want to prioritize.
Yeah, and nice to note here, Alarm and Toby being a support lineup that really back off of each other. And Alarm actually had an interview with YBT, and we were able to see, or rather, I read deeper into how it was translated, and he actually mentioned how having EQO back is like a breath of fresh air. So you talk about the Charge getting some games in and having a lot of practice time. I'm also looking to see how incorporating EQO is going to affect the mindset for the rest of the Fusion.
Yeah, it's interesting when you bring a player this late into the qualifiers in, but I mean, his Echo is fantastic, and I think Echo in some respects is more of a standalone hero currently. You don't need a whole lot of support. These comps are just kind of running into each other, and I tweeted earlier on today actually, 12 ults, 12 self-destructs, 13 coalescences, and a billion copies, and no one dies. You know, that's just the meta currently. So you are like focusing down one target, but the target normally is actually the Reaper or the Moira. As soon as they use their Wraithwalk or their Fade, Vicky, you're in for a bad time. You just need to hold on for those abilities for as long as you possibly can before the enemy team jump on you. As soon as those abilities are blown, yeah, boom. The enemy tanks jumping right on top of you. The enemy DPS are going to be on top of you as well, because they know you don't have an option to escape.
It's so funny too, because I saw your tweet. I was laughing about it because I basically had the same thought process where I'm like, there is so much going on all at once. We got 3 divas. We had 4 diva bombs going off at the same time.
Yeah,
I'm just
in a
like,
single
might
fight.
as well call it a
How
tactical
do you keep
nuke.
track of this? Yeah.
It's and the
25 kill
coalescence, of
streak.
course, too. The crossing streams going in from the coal. I mean, it was just so chaotic. And, you know, I'm not anticipating APAC to be any different compared to the matches that we were able to witness just yesterday. So, going into our first map of the series, we're going to start things off on Oasis.
Yeah, it's going to be University, I believe, as well. Our spectators are in the right place, and I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah, Oasis, Hanamura, Hollywood, Junkertown, Nepal, if we get to those, of course. And it's just, I've got a good feeling that Philadelphia Fusion is just going to copy the NA style. Like you mentioned with the EQO being in and Rascal playing the Reaper, absolutely makes the most sense. The difference from the Charge is definitely going to be if Rio and Krong play double shield. That is going to be the big difference maker for me. Because the double shield, yeah, you're great to kind of stand all the way at the back and shoot people on University, but the problem is actually taking the space on the point, because this kind of dive comp, they can take so many multiple angles against you, it can be quite hard to actually pinpoint everybody down, and you're looking at just the Fusion to build up this coalescence and then just kind of run over you. Although it does look like actually a bit of a different look. Maybe double shield out the gate. Yep, completely what I didn't expect. Okay, double shield with the Batiste, and then the May and the Sim for the Charge. And EQO is going to be on the Kree, so no NA style comps just yet, all double shield for the time being. Could be just map dependent as well. University pretty good, especially with the May. You can block off the main entrance pretty easily, but Eileen goes down first. EQO managed to find the stun on the side of the entire fight, and Criv's down as well.
That's 2 picks off picks to EQO, and a great start here if you are the Fusion. Now, with starting things up and isolating Krong, the walls are behind him, and they make sure they take him down right before they get this point first. Already a great start here if you are the Philly Fusion. What a way to start things off, too, if you're EQO.
Yeah, that was... Eileen just went way too aggressive. You've got to know they have a Kree, right? You can't just take flanks like that, because EQO is going to be the one to try and find off angles. He will definitely get punished if they wall him off or they use the Hulk, but those abilities are really just going to be safe for the tanks, not the DPS that's randomly on the flank. Eileen going down, forfeits the point. Rascal's near Blizzard Vicky as well, but Charger are pushing on rather quickly. They're just waiting for this Rascal Blizzard, maybe this window. They let the flip go for free, but that was all thanks to the wall from Choice 01.
Oh, but that was a great pick first, too, from Choice of One. Aside from that wall that you made mention of that really allowed the team to push in, now you currently have Rascal who backed Captain. He was able to get that point turned around in their favor. The window coming out and isolating the May over to the side of the room. Can Choice of One get away? No, but he still pulls out the Blizzard, and he still gets a pick from the grave, making sure that you keep his name in his mouth. We're going to go for a reset here. If we currently have the Fusion successfully turn the point, and they do actually hold the point, actually, instead, and it's going to be the Charge that are forced to back off. Luckily, though, Jaws, they do have 3 ultimates coming up to work with.
That was a really horrible fight there from Eileen. He kind of ran into the wall, and Rascal just isolated him with the wall, and he just ran him down. And then the Blizzard was just an easy fix. We are seeing Choice of One on the Doomfist. Normally we see a lot more of Eileen on this pick. Seems they switched roles. Big flux, though, in the small corridor.
And a big change here, too. The sound barrier to keep everybody alive, and the Supercharger, too, now. That's going to allow the rest of the Charge to move in, get a little bit aggressive. They're going to clean up some of these picks around the Fusion. And with that wall, they do try to buy in some time, but luckily now, Jaws, they finally flip the point in their favor.
That was a really nice flux there from Hotbird, but instantly was met by Mandu's sound barrier. Toby's one, unfortunately, was just a little bit too late. There were 2 people trapped in that small room as they were trying to regress on the people that were fairly, or on the Charge who were fairly low because of the flux, even with the sound barrier kind of running out. And he let down the beat, and both the tanks are already dead. They're going to have a nice little position here with the Coalescence coming online for Kariv. They're going to take this fight fairly early too.
And these are some of the swaps that we had seen from the Charge coming out in full force. The Coalescence now, not only to help out the sustainability, but to buy in some space and respect from the Fusion. They're making their way over after that Coalescence runs out, and it's the window that comes in and the Gravitic Flux to stop their approach. They force out the Immortality Field, but the Blizzard coming in from Rascal is trying to land itself back onto the point. not going to find anybody, but Eileen does go down. That's the number advantage going in favor for the Fusion, and the respect bought in from the Charge as they're forced to back off, with Rascal taking care of Rio.
That flux from Krong was way too early, Vicky. They were, Fusion was so far back, Charge aren't going to be able to just run on them. They've got double shield. Yeah, Eileen and Choice of One can kind of walk in there, but they have to deal with Immortality Field before they deal with anything else. So if you're Krong in that situation, I feel like you need to bait the Fusion in to the point so you can then follow up with ease. Choice of One's going to go in. Not too successful though, as overtime is here.
Overtime, and now at 99%, the Fusion are trying to successfully hold them back. Rio goes down, he takes a lot of damage after that Gravitic Flux from Hoppa. You're talking about waiting for that perfect opportunity, and that's exactly what Hoppa did. It's Karib with the Coalescence, not on the honor that we're used to seeing, and the Fusion have won this team fight. It's Choice of One, delaying the inevitable before they clean them up, and the rest of the Charge go down with it in this first round, going in favor to the Fusion.
Wow, feeling pretty good at the Fusion. They had a very rough start to the June Joust, not looking like a team we usually see. The Fusion have always been kind of a top 4 team in NA, and now obviously in the APAC region, they've always been tippity top, but lately, Carpe has not been doing well on the Hangzhou, so having EQO step in like this is going to be a big boom for them. A fresh mind coming into the game. He's already looking really good. He got the first 2 picks for the Fusion to start off the map. We're going to head into downtown now, and this is what I expected to see from the Fusion. This brawly comp, this dupe goats, whatever you want to call it. You just run at people, 700 ults go off, no one dies, and then eventually the Moira or the Reaper hit their Fade or their Wraith Walk, and then they die. They're going to meet each other on the lift. Pretty good position if you're the Lucio, of course. You can boot people off, but if anybody's fallen for that, I'd question a lot of things, actually.
You see this fight going up to the side. Oh, he took on one!
No. Eileen teleported back on.
Oh, that was insane. I honestly saw Eileen just dip from that situation. I was not sure if he was able to come back. Luckily, they do, and they don't lose anybody. And look at this rotation that we currently have from the Charge, opting to swap sides between the Fusion, as the Fusion have point control now, rather position control on the point, and it's Eileen still trying to target the backline of the Fusion, but he can't find these hits. He's forced to play up close. Luckily, with that Coalescence, we gotta count it out here, Jaws. Karib already finds that first pick onto EQO, and that's a big pick. Alarm's gonna trade that for Rio, though. Luckily, with the rest of the Fusion, they have Hoppa there to get the follow-up onto Choice of One, and Hoppa cleans up around Karib. That's going to be the number advantage going in favor to the Fusion, and trying to regain some sustainability there, especially with these ultimates coming online soon.
Yeah, early Coalescence from Karib. Alarm didn't even actually have his, so he was forced to use it later. Normally, if you're using the Coalescence late or using an ultimate late in the fight without too many casualties, you're normally going to come out on top because chip damage has already come through. Krong needed to remake. It's not going to happen. There's the beat as Eileen ends up going down to the Death Blossom. I got to question that beat from Mandu. That was pretty interesting, honestly. I don't think you need to do that there. Eileen had already died. Krong had already died, and then Eileen died to the Death Blossom. I don't know. That seems like a wasted ult. And now look at the support ultimates for the Fusion. Toby's got his online ready to go.
I don't know if that was a panic ult to just try to contest the moment they heard the sound cue of the Death Blossom go off, but that's pretty big right now with the Coalescence from Alarm. Gonna hold back the rest of the Charge. They do have 3 ultimates to work with, rather 4 coming on soon from Krong and Karib actually to match that with the rest of the team. Probably gonna use the Coalescence to start the engagement, and that's exactly what they do right here. Eileen's gonna close in the gap. He has a Death Blossom that they're gonna look out for. Here we go though, the Chaos Jaws that we saw come down in the NA region. The Echo duplicate into the D.Va. Do it for another D.Va. EQO is going to try to match that. They're controlling so much space with these D.Va bombs. Meanwhile, Mono is flinging away, sending everybody from the Charge all around the point. But it's Hoppa that ends up falling first, as Caribbean wants to make sure that they can build into that next round of Coalescence like it's a buffet.
I mean, it's already done now. Yep, Rascal's going to go down. Mano is to follow. They do get 99%, however. That fight started out with Karib opening up with the Coalescence, Vicky. And then Toby reactively going for the beat so they could just push on forward and kind of ignore the Coalescence damage. The problem was, Mano and Rascal didn't receive that beat at all. And Rio just jumped on Rascal and insta-killed him. Rascal was chunked out in the previous small skirmish. And because he didn't receive that overshield, he was a sitting duck for Rio to jump on. Mano didn't receive it either. He went fairly low. We're going to have another re-engage. Eileen has got the Death Blossom. They got beat as well to engage him, but they're just going to build up for this Coalescence and then go. Alarm's now got his online. Crib is 10% away.
And this is so crucial here. Now with the engagement starting out with the Coalescence, luckily Mandu's right there with the beat. Exactly to hold this choke point position, and that actually forces the Fusion back and wastes a lot of the time off of that Coalescence from Alarm. Now with Carib having the Coalescence here, it's just a matter of respect that you're forced to have if you're the Fusion, because you currently have the charge, quite literally charging your front lines with these ultimates. So, you know, they want to back off, they want to replenish these ultimates, they're going to dive right back into the action. EQO is going to have duplicates soon to match that with Choice of One, but Choice of One's going to have the Diva Bomb first, and he's already sending it forward. Does get the reset, and he gets two off of Haha and EQO. Jaws, again, I feel like I'm just having a different episode of Deja Vu, now finding Rascal. That's definitely going to buy some time for the Charge to rack up some of this percent on the point.
Wow, that looks actually pretty winnable for the Fusion there. Along with 60% of his Coalescence when Carib was on like 10 or something. It made sense to just go for this big re-engage, but Choice of One copying into the Diva, you're going to be seeing a whole bunch of that realistically. Diva's the best value you can get with the copy. Alarm's got the Coalescence, and you should use it with the next orb coming up. It's in a couple of seconds. Nope, he's just going to pop it early.
Oh, he sees the opportunity, he sees that they're low, and it's Rio that goes down first. Griff is going to pop the Coalescence himself to at least try to push this into overtime, but it may not be enough. Eileen goes down, and so does Mandu. The number disadvantage is going to be the Charge with the Fusion now holding on to the point, pushing it into overtime, and taking map number 1.
Oh man, these fights, mind you, they're definitely a test on how your sustainability as a play-by-play caster as well, Vicky. I do definitely feel sorry for you, because there is so much happening at once, and then there's like a billion duplicates, and people take a long time to die as well, and there's action all over the map. But my word, this is the Fusion that I think people wanted to see in the June Joust, Vicky. I really do. EQO coming in on the Echo, just demolishing. And on the Creed too, he showed up on University pretty big as well. This Fusion University roster, I was obviously massive high hopes for, with Toby coming in as a fantastic world star Lucio. I did not expect this today, honestly. I thought it might take a couple more days to kind of ramp up to where they used to be able to hit, but the Charge, a little bit lackluster coming out of the gate. EQO just beating them to the punch, Vicky.
Yeah, I like the way they performed in that second round, but the Fusion are just the ones that come out on top. We're going on to map number 2, though. Let's see what the Charge could do to try to put this back in their favor. Don't go anywhere, because we have more Overwatch League action on the other side of this break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by Indeed, we help people get jobs. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
One has been uncontested. He's the real threat, and he finds a quick 2K onto both Yapung and Flora. This line of sight that we're seeing in a Deadeye, he hasn't been stopped. No one stopped him. They're trying, but he hasn't even been put to sleep. Spread apart, Jaws is so chaotic.
Self-destruct. Copy finds yet another head. Else is going to go down.
Oh! Now Monk is matched with that. Toby gets the res, and at the very end, the Fusion have been able to hold their own.
One gets nanoed.
Eileen, another pick here for Eileen, putting the number advantage, make it 2. He's been absolutely a fire. Take care of Jimmy's turret, as well as Jimmy in the process. And finding that pick, though, you can already see Rascal's getting repositioned with the Death Blossom. He doesn't get stunned out of it. Instead, Elsa goes down, unfortunately not turning in place. It's gonna be Lee who now takes his leave again, and Rascal on the Reaper. He's making his comeback. Welcome back, everyone, to the June Joust tournament here. It's the APAC region and the Fusion taking map number 1 over the Charge. We were joking about it a little bit during the break, though, Jaws, and we were making note about the different sort of composition that we weren't really expecting out of the gates, and then the short change that came right out of it after halfway through round 1.
Yeah, it's definitely more map dependent, like I prefaced earlier. Yeah, University, pretty good with the May. Double Shield's pretty good because you can hold down one of the sides, but yeah, we're going to see a whole lot of this dupe, echo, goats, whatever you want to call it. What's quite interesting too is the Fusion, they need this win. They need this win bad. 0-2 currently in the standings. Like, that is not a space you want to be in at all. They're 1-0 up in the series. It's looking good so far. The Charge, we looked at our leaderboard earlier, are middle of the pack currently. Only 1-1, tying 3 other teams in that position as well. And then the Seoul and the Hunters. Not quite tied on the map score with the Hunters, though. Hunters are down -1. So every win right now counts. And because the season's so compact too, mind you, the Fusion, they are 4-2. So they've got like the smallest bit of leeway ever, Vicky. But you still obviously want to get as many wins as possible, many series wins as possible. You can see the map score, the total score for the season in the top left and right. Charge on 2 and 4, and of course Fusion on 4 and 2. It is kind of desperation zone for the Fusion though. They need to get off of 0-2 to stand a chance of qualifying for the June Joust. We are seeing Carpe come in as well for the Fusion on the offense, and if Iguo sticks on this May, I think we're going to see the classic here. We're going to see the classic May and the Kree come out from the Fusion, but we'll have to wait and see what they want to do. Carpe's going to TP everybody forward, I can imagine. But the Charge, this is a scary comp. We saw this a whole bunch from the APAC region over the last couple of weeks. Kariv has been an unbelievable warlord in the server on the Ana. I'd be so scared if I were the Fusion right now. It actually looks like they're going to go double builder with the turrets and the walls from both the May and the Symmetra. And you're going to be able to chunk through barriers, yeah, but Kariv is going to be the one to really turn these fights. The Fusion have to know where he is and know where these nades are coming from.
He quite literally was on a tear, managing to get those crucial sleep darts, those biotic grenades, and now that Kariv is back on the Ana, my eyes are on him. Real taking some damage,
ticks
though.
already given away.
Yeah, already. No, they're actually just giving it to them right now. I mean, can somebody contest? They do. 3 members now from the Charge on the point. Make it 2, but when you have that Symmetra already set up on the point, those turrets that slow you down and deal so much damage, and having that teleporter there, it's so difficult to make a difference. And almost like it's a speed run right now, despite EQO getting hit by that Anti, it doesn't matter. It's a team wipe here, Jaws, and it's a Fusion trying to close out this series as quickly as possible.
It felt like they were waiting for Kariv to hit a nade there, and I didn't see any purples go out on the side of the Fusion. Pretty tough, although, saying that against the double shield, but you can still find off angles, and that's what Kariv is fantastic at doing. Nice TP over the Gorge for the Fusion as they try and take this high ground. The descent onto the point, however, Vicky, is going to be rather treacherous, especially as Rio now has the Primal Rage to knock people about, and Kariv's going to have the high ground as well to rain nades from above. They're going to build up towards this Nano as well, so Rio's going to be the one to try and contest. But it looks like they're actually just going for aggressive TP, and Mandu's already dead.
Oh, but Caribbean, you currently have Hoppo now antied up to the side, and Mono's gone too. That's 2 members down for the Fusion. Despite Mondu going down first in that fight, Rio actually having that primal was able to not only help out with that sustainability, add another body to the table, but that's going to be a reset from Fusion with the Charge successfully holding this defense.
Felt like a little bit of a couple of different plans there from the Fusion, Vicky. Looked like they wanted to teleport onto the high ground.
Yeah.
Carpe set his teleporter up through his turrets in them to try and distract people on the high. You could see Karib and Eileen kind of holding that position. And no, obviously no one else went through it. It felt like maybe a bit of a bait TP as well. But they allowed Rio to just jump to the backline and knock Alarm off. As soon as Alarm is off the map there, as soon as Alarm dies in this comp, you will lose the fight. The chunk damage from the Charge that they can output with the Ashe and the Echo is way too much for just the solo Lucio to handle.
Photon Barrier now to split up the piece, and it's going to be the Sound Barrier going to keep the rest of Fusion alive, and the Blizzard, the Krung, eats you a Blizzard for breakfast, at least if you're my neck of the woods. Meanwhile, though, I love the way that the Charge are holding this choke point. It actually forces Fusion to go for a reset after losing EQO first, and it seems like kind of trickling down to what you mentioned earlier, Jaws. It doesn't seem like they really have a decision set up in stone. Now they've lost Alarm, and that's going to have to be them going right back to the spawn, taking that teleporter right back from where they came.
It really feels like the Fusion need to go top right here, honestly. They want to be able to push Kariv and Eileen and Mandu down from the high ground, but then you're in almost the same situation because they can easily kind of rotate on you. You don't have a Lucio on the side of the Fusion, but you've got so much more mobility on the Charge. You have the Coach Gun, or now the Dash, because Eileen switched over to Genji. Rio and Krong obviously have mobility. Choice of One as well with his shift. It's a hard ask if you're the Fusion, trying to make sure the Charge rotate into you or trying to push them off. Oh, Carpe's going to be able to find a massive pick on Choice of One. He went way too aggressive, Vicky.
Wow, Choice of One was just caught out of position, almost getting that stun though on the res that you saw from Mandu, who's popped the Valkyrie. The Gravitic Flux has found Eileen, and that's 2 members down from the Charge. Despite popping a lot of those ultimates, especially from Mandu's Valk, he hasn't really been able to get into position to find himself catching Karib and keeping him alive. Krong now has activated a Diva Bomb. Doesn't find anyone, but they stop it from getting right back into the Diva mech, especially since that change has come in and no one was on the point here, Jaws. Oh, big Hansi at the very end, but was it worth it here as the Fusion wasted no time to get onto this point when they saw the pressure was on?
Choice of One flew way too close there to Carpe. It's almost like he felt like Carpe was more up the stairs than he was, or maybe a little bit further back. I'm not entirely sure. And as soon as Carpe takes a step forward, imagine a big a sphere, a zone around a McCree that the flashbang can hit, that range. Oh, here you can see the eat on the Blizzard. My God, yeah, he was waiting for that one. Scoop that right up too. My word. Yeah,
like
so imagine that sphere around the Kree, that flashbang range. Choice of One knew he couldn't actually fly back up to his Mercy and to the rest of his team because Carpe had just walked forwards. And the rest of Carpe's team, not only Amano but Hotba, were right behind him as well. So they were ready to kind of pocket him and help him if he was in any trouble. They could put down shields, they can throw in a few heals if you're Alarm. There was nothing that Choice of One could really do. He tried to back out of the window, and that kind of snowballed it from there. And then the rest of the team fight just kind of fell to pieces. The Fusion were able to set up high ground. They used the window to push the rest of the Charge off as the res was coming in from Mandu. He did manage to get it off, yes, but then it was just like Charge grasping at straws at the very end. It looks like the Philadelphia Fusion are going to go with this Orisa and the Diva. I'm actually... I mentioned it before, and I'm getting every single map, Vicky, every single round, I'm getting more surprised when we're not seeing the duplicate goats. But I'm happy we're seeing Eileen back on the Genji and Karib on the Ana. This is going to be a pure dive, just run at the back line, just try and isolate Alarm or Toby.
Yeah, it definitely seems as if the Fusion is trying to play into the team strength that they have currently. Of course, Carpe on board with the Ashe. Eileen taking a chunk of damage there, wants to be wary. He takes more damage. He does get to retreat and give that into the ultimates between Karib and Mandu, and that's going to be crucial here, especially for that approach with that Nano Blade that we're going to be seeing in the future. Though Rio is taking some damage himself. Luckily, though, that's going to be going into Karib's ultimate again. So they're just kind of holding here at a standstill just to be able to build into some of these ultimates.
Yeah, the problem is Eileen's struggling to get a little bit of damage down here. They are going to go for this engage on the right-hand room, but a nice little boot from Hopper, and actually a big zone as well from Mano. Krong is all on his lonesome. Mandu was trying to follow him up there. Looked like they wanted to rotate Vicky. Krong's going to die too. That's going to be a reset now for the Charge. That was a really nice boot from Hopper, by the way. I mentioned it just there, but him pushing half the Charge away just with the thrusters, you don't think a Diva boop is, you know, a crazy distance when you hit into somebody, but it isolated them completely, and Krong and Mandu were like, oh, where's our team? Oh, they're already gone. Oh, now we hit them. So that's an extra, what, 30, 40 seconds off of the clock? Not too bad at all. And Eileen's only got 50% on the Nano Blade, and he's just going in with a Nano anyway.
No, he's going all in, and Eileen is just trying to make sure to clean things up. It's Mono who goes down. Carpe does find Rio in the process, but somebody help him out. They do try to peel for him, but Lux still goes down here, John. Oh, that's quite unfortunate. Toby can't really do anything about it as the res was committed onto Mono, trying to get the main tech on board, but they've caught out Krong in the process. So we have some trades going in, and it's going to be Mandu and Choice One who are right behind the Fusion. Now Carpe's gone down from Eileen because Eileen's been unstoppable, and he's still hanging out on this high ground over the point.
Oh, he's going to die. He's going to die to Mercy. Oh, EQO's there as well to actually finish the kill. Not bad, but the Charge are actually getting some point pressure here. Mano's going to be able to come in and use that Bongo rather soon as well. Rio is going to be able to get out alive, and that's going to be what's important here. They're going to be able to get a quick regroup. Oh, Choice One unfortunately ends up going down, so that regroup, yeah, turning into nothing at the moment. They're going to have to full reset again. Man, that was a horrible fight from the Charge. If you're in that position where you're forced onto the Philadelphia Fusion side of the map, and then you have to deal with Mano and Hopper and Carpe and EQO poking at you from that distance. Oh man, if it was pretty bad in that situation, knowing that your respawns can't come in to aid you quickly.
These cinematic angles that I'm loving it right now. It's also like highlighting how intense it is to see Eileen with this blade that he's holding on to. He gets sound barrier though. That's going to start off the engagement for the Charge. You see the way that Eileen's now on the back. He does try to find Alarm and Carmen. He swings in. Thanks to Choice One also going in with them. The enabling from the rest of the Charge. I love the way that they just charge there in. I mean, aside from the name, Eileen now trying to clean things up around the Fusion, but can he even reach EQO, who's been a menace onto the back line? Choice of One gets the duplicate off. He copies over to the Diva. The Hoppa goes down. It's going to be Mandu who gets that boop. Goodbye, Hoppa. Luckily, now the Charge have made their way over to the point.
That was super nice build from Hopper there, trying to keep EQ alive. Unfortunately, it didn't end up working out. All the squishies were so far back on the Fusion. They're in their spawn. Oh, that was a nice headshot. They were so far back. They were past this gate, Vicky. So Eileen was sitting there like, well, there's 3 people here. They didn't have a mortality field. They've used a window, but I'm right above them. It was the perfect storm for him. They managed to just separate them completely, and they're able to just pick part of the composition one piece at a time. The strength of Fusion's comp is to sit in one place and poke people down, and then Hopper and EQO and Carpe can kind of poke from a distance and use the defense matrix to peel. But the Charge, they wedge formation straight through the frontline troops.
And look at this approach that we're seeing from the Charge. A little different compared to the approach from Fusion when they were on the attack. Opting to immediately go for this high ground positioning. Already getting that boost onto Eileen, who doesn't matter if you don't have a Death Blossom. You're still clearing some space here for the rest of your team and that survivability. They forced out the buff, but Choice of One has found out Carpe with that focusing beam, dealing so much damage. And it's going to be Choice of One who's going to hold on to that high ground positioning while putting in some of that burst damage onto Hoppa, who's hanging down to the spine. Yeah, you have the grab, but Mono gets anti. No follow-up onto Mono, but it's going to be EQO who goes down first. Great first picks coming in from the Charge to start up this initiation. It's Choice of One making sure to burn down the rest of Fusion's front lines.
Dude, this guy's crazy. Look at him go. They used the grab in the front line. Yeah, goodbye, Toby. Goodbye, Carpe. The anti on top as well. Mandu's going to hit the rally key, and it should be all over now as Manu ends up going down. Choice of One again. He is sometimes single-handedly carrying the Charge to victory, regardless of the situation. This guy's an absolute monster. And what a perfect hero to do it on as well, the Echo. It's got so much mobility, the burst damage is crazy. It utilizes a lot of different skill sets, I think, in like a DPS player. The hit scan, the beam, you have to like focus on people like an LG, and then you have the projectiles, and then you have to kind of manage how you're flying as well. Oh, here's the blade from Eileen. You can see 3 of the squishies are in the back line. They managed to form a wedge, put themselves right through the cohorts in the front line, and then separate them all and then just tear them apart from there. Really nice execution on first point for the Charge. It did take them a little while to do it though, Vicky, and you can see that reflecting in their time bank with only 2 minutes remaining, which means Fusion will be the ones to defend first. It's going to be the same sort of comp, though. The Fusion have almost the perfect recipe in terms of players to pull off these kind of comps, Vicky.
Yeah, seeing the Baptiste and Brigida now coming out between Alarm and Toby, we saw what happened shortly after Alarm had popped the window, and the unfortunate circumstance of Eileen charging right in from the top position of that balcony into the front lines of where Alarm was situated with Toby, rather, and Carpe. But you know, now as we get set up, it's going to be the Charge coming out of the gates and trying to get back into rhythm after they took that first point. You mentioned it took them a little bit, and it definitely did. They were trying to get their feet planted on that point, but now they know they just have to split their forces thin, and we're wasting no time getting some charge up. It's going to be EQO, though, who gets that first pick. Carpe's going to get the follow-up, and you're going to want to go for a hard reset after that one. That's kind of giving some extra credit over the Fusion that you don't want to afford.
Watching Carpe if they hit scan is just fantastic. Just clicking heads over and over again. Feels pretty good. Man, oh man. He managed to halt Mandu there, and the worst thing you can do if you're a Lucio player is get your momentum halted, and it was just perfect. Halt into sticky bombs, he instantly dies, and with Mandu going down, you can't really do much to the Charge. You're not able to use that as powerful speed boost to speed round Fusion and separate them like we saw before. Now Rio goes down. It's just a constant use of this halt into different abilities, whether it's dynamites, whether it's sticky bombs. It really does remind me of way back when we were using the halt to combo with Dragon Strike.
Back in the day here too, especially when you had that ult and the hog hook here, and it's gonna be buying in some time away from the Charge. Griff is gonna have that boost coming online soon. Maybe wait things out before they try to engage. They're just trading at the time, but it's gonna be the Fusion who continuously keep pushing back Rio, and they do engage with that nano boost. It's gonna be Rio opening things up, clearing some space, and taking out Toby in the process. Luckily though, Choice of One's creating some chaos from the skies. He finds that melee attack onto Hoppa, and they're finally making their way over to the point. But look at this positioning that we're seeing from Carpe. He does activate the Bob, but he's still buying in some time while they found both
went down
away from the Charge. Joust, now they have no sustainability, and you have less than 10 seconds on board to get this first point.
Someone's got to touch. Choice of One is surely going to go down here as well. Hoppa and EQO looking at him. They had his number. Easy as pie, really. Overtime is here. EQ ends up going down, but Alarm fragging at this point. That Immortality field saving his life. They have the supercharger, but Rio managed to knock Mano off.
This is actually looking promising if you're the Charge, actually. And, you know, you have their spawn coming in, Alder to the other side, but it's Rio who's holding it down. Harp is alive still, but Hoppa has to go for the reset. He pulls the trigger on the Diva Bomb, doesn't find anyone, but he goes down, and it's the grab. Choice I want somebody stop him. These heads that he is clicking. It's like a circus, and he's just juggling while he's in the Diva, or rather, the duplicate for the Diva.
Unbelievable grab there from Krong. Catches 3 people, plus he stays alive on point as well to just gain additional percent. They haven't got much time though, Vicky. They've got a Blade. Choice of One's actually switching over to the Soldier to get back into the fight as quickly as he can. It feels like right now they just need to beat engage with Eileen using the Blade. If he doesn't use that Blade, EQO's going to tear him to pieces.
That duplicate. I got my eyes on EQO.
There's
here.
the
Soundberry to start up the engagement, and here comes EQO who pulls the trigger on the duplicate. He gets the Winston copy, and he's going to be able to build this primal, which is going to be so crucial. Eileen gets stunned, but he's still terrorizing these backlines. He forced out the rest of Fusion to hang out close to the spawn. Somebody help out Alarm. He's alone here. You see the attempt from Toby, but Alarm still wins against Eileen. How'd that happen? He got into his line of sight, and Alarm said, "Sit down, Eileen. It's my turn to shine." But luckily, Kariv is here with the Coalescence. Jaws, they lost both of their DPS here as the Charge, and it's Alarm who's still terrorizing these DPS. He found Eileen, he finds Choice of One, and the Fusion are holding on to this overtime overall, and they successfully defended against the Charge.
Oh my word, how did Alarm win that fight? How? Just how? You have Eileen jumping onto you, he hit like 4 shuriken headshots or something, but he didn't have the dash, crucially. And he was still going for the left clicks. Maybe he should have weaved a couple of right. I don't know what you could have done there, honestly. But Alarm just outplayed him there, just through and through. Just dominated him. And then with Alarm being alive, Vicky, Immortality fields, extra heals. As long as he stays alive in overtime situations, or if just main support, not main supports, but like main healers, the healers that output way more than anybody else, the Batiste of the world. As long as they stay alive in those OT situations, you are garnering so much value. And Alarm is the best of the best, really, when it comes to things like Batiste and Ana and Zen. Like, this guy is an absolute nutcase, and you can see it right there, being able to duel out DPS and win. Now,
Toby also helped out there too.
Yeah, Toby there too with the peel. His Brigitte has been looking really good. There is a bit I want to point out a little bit later. I think it's too late at this point, but the way Toby's actually holding first point as Brig, he's hiding in the small room in the bottom, just here. You can see the small little doorway on the left. To boop people away as they come in through the door, so they can't immediately back out, just create distance between him and the team. I think Toby's having a fantastic game. Looks like we're going to see same kind of thing on the defense for the Charge. Definitely they're more comfortable of compositions, Vicky, but well, Fusion, they're going to do the same again. Just TP to the point and control the space with the Mei and the Sip.
To see if this works again here, Carpe is going to give it a shot, but they're trying to clear some space here by the choke point first, trying to get into that beam that Carpe could use some more damage with, and maybe going off, and they are opting to get on the roof. Actually, instead they get booped up, but that actually pushes them closer to the point, and that's what they want here. Luckily though, Choice of One is hanging out in the backline to try to pressure out the Fusion, but they've already gotten set up here, Joss, and look at the amount of damage that Carpe is putting on because of the fact that he was able to charge up that beam. Big anti-finding tree though onto the Fusion, and Karib, he needs to back off, but the fact that both of these tanks have taken so much damage and Krong has been demeched, it may be too late here with the Fusion making their way over to this first point.
Man, they know where Karib is sitting that whole time. Like, he's sitting on the high ground, you put a shield in front of his face, he can't really do much with those nades. They garnered 6 minutes of time, by the way, on their last offense, and they might as well have matched it right there. Another very, very quick first point take. Now they're on high ground. They got Blizzard coming online. They're going to probably use the window to charge the rest of the ultimates. If they get onto the high ground, Alarm can just start clicking heads.
We see a replication after what we had seen on their defense. You already see the way that the Fusion are making their way over to the high ground, just trying to decide on where to go next. Carpe's about to get the photo barrier, but the Eileen headshot onto Carpe? They knew he was sitting on that for some time too. He called out Carpe, and if that isn't going to put a dent to Fusion's plans, I don't know what is.
Well, they still got 1 minute 40, Vicky, and they only need 33% as well. They have Blizzard. Wall is coming up fairly soon as well. Carpe is dying in spawn to Choice of One, who is in spawn. Choice of One is in Fusion spawn. He's going to be able to get away, though. And look, even Mandu's coming to kind of escort him away. Okay. They're letting Choice of One get away with it. Is he going to really camp Carpe in spawn? He might do. I'm not sure if this is worth it. It's now a 4v5 on Charge's second point. Although Choice of One does have copy, too, so he can get back to the point pretty quickly and then just copy a tank with mad value.
I mean, they may want to make their way over now, but Krong needs another EQO. Blizzard, the timing and the way that they're tracking these ultimates has been impeccable, and here comes Choice of One with some support between the Ana and Mercy, between Mandu and Karib, cleaning out Alarm. They use so many ultimates there, minus Mano's about to get that supercharger, Jaws, and that really put a dent to the time bank that the Fusion were able to build up for themselves.
Choice of One has just been able to farm the front line of the Fusion. Fusion last time around, Vicky, when they were attacking second point, they had Carpe switch over to the Kree to be able to check Choice of One. That's not happened this time. They've got Reaper and Genji now to try and just dive on the backline of the Charge. But the Charge have so many ults available to them. It's going to be such a tough ask. 15 seconds remains. Fusion are going to be able to get the touch here. Shouldn't be too much of a problem, but they've still got to walk into a wall of ults.
Oh, and a quick nap that Hoppa is going to take just
okay,
outside the point.
Okay,
but he got hit by an anti too, so he tries to go for a reset, but Krong said, no way, Hoppa. You didn't even get the chance to see the light of day. The duplicate now coming in from Choice of One, who has been an absolute threat. Potential ROI here. MVP of Choice of One, finding Alarm and Carpe. The way the Charge have now fully held this against the Fusion, the team who had much bigger of a time bank in comparison to the Charge. The lovely draw that we're so used to seeing here in Jaws between the Charge and Fusion. What a map that was.
Oh my word. A bit of an ego copy, I will say, on the Genji. I think they knew they won at the end of that because, well, I say won, of course, draw overall, but I think they knew they won that fight as soon as they managed to get Hopper out of mech and kill him. It was so difficult for the Fusion. They changed so many of their heroes at the very last moment to try and deal with what Charge were defending with, but you're walking into so many ults. It's just so tough to actually get anything done. I mean, Charge, what an unbelievable defense. And Choice of One just making do with what Fusion were throwing at them. They weren't running his scan, and he just flew in the air, and Mardu pocketed him, and then he shot people. That was pretty much it. There was nothing to deal with this guy.
Potential Rookie of the Year contender right here if you're looking at Choice of One. He's been popping off so far within the season. Exciting performance from the Charge. Would look to be a nice situation for the Fusion, just dwindled before their eyes. Luckily with that draw though, the Charge still have an opportunity to reverse the series, put it back in their favor. We'll find out if they could do just that as we go into a map number 3 at the other side of this break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. So much flavor, it's a mind crunch. TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League. And by NetApp, the official data management partner of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everyone, to the first series in the East region here, APAC Overwatch League. It's a June Joust here, Jaws, and we currently just got a draw between the Guangzhou Charge versus the Philadelphia Fusion.
Yeah, we are in the qualifiers, and every win counts. The Fusion, a nail-biting finish there at the very end of Hanamura. They draw as they were trying to attack second on their second attempt at attack. Oh man, it was so close to time of the series. But if you're the Charge, a draw there is definitely better than a loss. Hanamura, done and dusted. We are now jumping over to Hollywood. And Vicky actually was looking into this series. I sounded very Australian then. This series? I was looking into the series, or the matchup, the head-to-heads. And what's really funny to me is that these guys have only ever met once in the entirety of the Overwatch League, and they met in 2019 when the Guangzhou Charge were added to the league. So that's quite a long time ago. And funnily enough, Hopper was actually on that roster when on the Charge roster when they actually did meet. So he's playing against his old team here. Of course, different looks from a lot of the teams. We go year from year. 2019 feels like forever ago at this point. Anyway, let's get back into the game. Enough rambling for the time being. Charge doing the same old thing here. Apart from Eileen actually switching over to the Reaper. A lot more close quarters here, Vicky, so you want those shotguns rather than like a long-standing rifle. I think a Kree would do well here as well, but the Reaper getting up close and personal for Mano, not too bad at all. EQO has actually been slept. I wonder if that's actually going to mean anything. Doesn't look like it.
Oh, they almost got the first hit right here. Luckily, though, the contention comes in. Oh, they do manage to get it. It's going to be the Charge who are backing off. They're going to go for a disengage, probably rotate over to the side, but Alarm has found Eileen, and that is not the way you want to go about it, especially when you're going for a longer rotation. Now Rio is going down. That just leaves Krong to create some of that space, but he's taking so much damage so quick, and there's only so much that Mandu and Kriv could really do. Luckily, when they come back, Kriv will have the nano boost, but right now it's looking like the Fusion starting things off absolutely as strong as we had seen them do in Hanamura, but we already saw the outcome to that when the Charge were able to make that comeback.
And now they're just going to sprint high ground, Vicky. It's the best place they can hold. They can make a very good use of the window up here and stop a lot of what Charge really want to do. Ideally, Rio, choice one, they jump onto high ground, they assassinate somebody, and then just dive away and just keep doing that. But the issue is here, you're running into a Halt, you're running into a Reaper, Carpe as well, but they're actually going to nano someone on the high ground. Eileen's jumping straight up, but look at this disengage from Fusion.
Oh, the way that they try to avoid that, Eileen gets stunned and he gets out of that situation, just breathing away, trying to get back into the high ground with the platforms. But Choice One found EQO and Carpe. Now has pulled the trigger on the Deadeye, not finding anybody in his line of sight because you currently have the Charge still holding on to this high ground. Choice One has been the biggest threat that we've seen so far from the Charge when it comes to dealing with the Fusion and putting on a lot of pressure with that focusing beam and a lot of this burst damage overall. He does have that duplicate at the ready, and they're just going to wait out this window right now. This is as Alarm tries to get in some of that space. Diving right in, though, is going to be Rio, and he's going to have the Primal to go in for the reset. Choice One has his duplicate again, just to make note of that, and he may want to go in with Rio when he pops the Primal. But he's taking so much damage, and Eileen's over to the side of the room.
Yeah, Eileen playing a little bit of Peel Reaper there to make sure his backline doesn't go down. Carpe trying to find a kill in the front line. Nice little Halt, though, as the Charge are still holding on. Choice One can come in with the dupe at any time, however. And it does look like they're just going to grant the Fusion a little bit of space, but they're just going to get high ground instead. Nice position. And they've got Self-Destruct, they've got Copy, they've got Death Blossom too. They're ready to go.
You see Hoppa holding onto the Diva Bomb too, getting hit by those sticky bombs here. Just trying to find a situation where they can try to isolate, but Choice One's holding on to that off angle over to the side to help peel for Krong, and the double Diva coming in. We're going to see another Diva bomb coming out after Krong had pulled the trigger on that. Now it's Choice One's turn, and he finds four! What? On ultimate, Choice One showing why Echo is so strong in this meta. Wow, what a way to show things off. And you see Choice One, he's feeling himself. He's absolutely popping off after that play.
I cannot sing this guy's praises enough. Series after series, map after map, this guy continues to perform out of his mind. Big 4K self-destruct. The rest of the Fusion all the way back to spawn as they go for the reset. Karib's now on high ground too, the best spot for to be as an Ana. Eileen's got the Blossom. I mean, they just send Eileen in with the Nano or even Rio. Okay, Choice One, the carry is down, and they lose high ground as well for it.
And that's Intel, but Eileen's coming in from the heavens with the Death Blossom. Let it rip, but Alarm's on Karib, and they're trading here, but the number advantage still going in favor with the Fusion with EQO holding on to this Death Blossom, now finding Eileen and Mandu. Luckily, EQO wanted to answer right back after that showcase that we had just seen from Choice One. They knew that they have to isolate this player as a threat here, Jaws, especially with Carpe managing to catch him first in that first team fight.
Oh, EQO playing a little sneaky. Wants to try and catch someone coming out the left-hand door. Normally you don't want to go out right, you just get dominated. Oh, he's waiting back with the Death Blossom. They don't know, Vicky. Oh, they know now.
They saw
okay,
this one.
Karib checked it.
Yeah, the Warrior just managing to find that lock on immediately over onto EQO. He's holding onto the Death Blossom still, though, so he could just rejoin the rest of his group, and it's going to be Carpe who's going to use the Deadeye. Now trying to find a victim over to the side. He doesn't find Karib. I got a little worried there, but it's Mono who still pulled him out of the works and still finding him. That's a big pick nonetheless, because that was a coalescence that could have been in use here. And it's going to be 3 down going in from the Charge, and it's going to allow the Fusion to maintain this position on the payload. Wasting some time, though, is Choice One, but it may be too late now after he's going in for the reset and the rest of his team is dead.
A nice little zoning high noon from Carpe from the jail. He was able to scatter the rest of the charge. It was only a couple of meters, Vicky, that the payload was sunk into that second point. So using the Deadeye there just forces someone from the charge to dip onto the point. But as soon as they do, the defense matrix, unfortunately, isn't going to last forever. Nice little TP again from EQO. Is going to be up on the high ground. But there's no one there just yet. But him just jumping on the back line is going to be good enough. Here comes the engagement, Vicky. Yet again, the Eco is in the back line.
I love the cinematic views. Again, it's EQO that it gets focused down on. His choice of one who's taking so much damage. How? EQO is so far away. And luckily with some of those comms, Alarm makes sure to be the nail in the coffin for Choice of One, send him right back to the spawn. They've lost EQO though, and he will be able to come back building into that Death Blossom.
Yeah, 2 minutes remains as well for the Fusion. They've got a very nice forward hold position too. Choice of One's, he's back on the Genji. I say back on the Genji. Seen Eileen play it a ton. Choice of One's been copying people. Nice coalescence though to start off the fight, but Rio's already dead.
Oh, that was so unfortunate. Just pulling the trigger on the coalescence just a little earlier could have potentially made a difference there for Rio. Now Eileen's gone here too as Carpe gets that headshot. The Diva Bomb though finding Carpe. That's a good outcome here if you're the Charge because they are trading in numbers after losing Carpe, who's going to come back with the Deadeye. EQO has the Death Blossom after finding Mandu, and they've lost their Lucio. They've lost potential to build up the sound barrier, and this payload is getting closer to the finish line.
Oh, look at them just try and chase down Toby. He kind of refuses to die. He should be okay. And now another zoning Deadeye from Carpe just pushes the entirety of the charge back, and now the Fusion have position, Vicky.
Now you see me, now you don't from the Charge. They want no business to do with Carpe's Deadeye, of course, for good reasons, but you want to make sure that you have to deal with the threat that is EQO, who is getting set up already over to the high ground. He has that Death Blossom. Look who's there to help enable him is Hoppa.
Nice boop.
He drops down though. Yeah, that was a great boop going in from Prong. And we've seen that constantly. And now the Coalescence and the Sound Barrier to keep the sustainability, but they've lost Choice of One. And, you know, they do have a lot of ultimates here to work with, but I like the patient approach that we're seeing from the Fusion. Eileen's in the back, but they shut him down. That was crucial there. You saw that Eileen wanted to pull the trigger on the Death Blossom, but he got stuck right out of it. And now you have the Charge losing heads, and they're losing them fast. Choice of One's trying to dive in, but it may be too late. They're going to push this payload to the finish line. You currently saw Choice of One. He was quite literally the epitome of one, so there wasn't much he could do, even with the blade.
Yeah, that's Genji without any kind of support in 2021. No beat, no rally, no nano. Not even a damage boost. Like, you can't really do much, unfortunately. It's not like Genji of old. That was super well played from the Fusion. They're very aware of where Eileen is going to be positioned and where Choice of One are going to be positioned as well. And they're able to play back with that bomb was just unbelievable. They're very aware of where Eileen and Choice of One are playing, and Alarm is just doing such a good job of just using these mortality fields. It's so tough for the Charge to get anything done. They're diving into a Kree, they're diving into a Reaper, they're diving into an Orisa as well, and they got to deal with Brig, like this very small bunker comp from the Fusion that does very well playing together. It's tough for the DPS of the Charge. Like, you're not really going to generate blade that quickly. The Reaper is going to have to like duck in and out of fights or kind of wait for the Fusion to give them a lot of space so they can move in. Like, it's a tough ask if you're not playing some kind of poke if you're not playing some kind of poke back to poke at the shields, to poke at Alarm, to poke at EQO and Carpe. It's not a situation where I think Choice of One wanted to play the Genji, honestly. I think Echo would have just been 10 times better. Just stick on the Echo, get some nice duplicates out again. Just copy the Diva, copy the Orisa even some of the time to build up those instant superchargers. So we go on to the next round. Charger now going on the offense, same kind of composition. I sometimes wish Eileen would just play Doomfist into these comps, but it's just not going to happen with the amount of stuns on board and the Halt, for example, from the Fusion. We're not graced with it, unfortunately, today. Nano Blades or just Nano Winston to dive in with the bubble. That's going to be the aim of the game. And you can see they're taking a lot of damage. They're taking it on purpose almost. They want to build up to this Nano boost and then go in from there.
Yeah, you see building into Kriv's nano boost though very shortly. Eileen could get some damage going. You may note of it, it's just difficult to be able to get in, especially when you're dealing with Carpe and EQO and Mono pulling you from left to right. See the attempt on the rotation now going in from the charge. Kriv holding back. He's nearly at his ultimate. He does get it online right now. Potentially going to be able to allow Rio to dive in and get a little aggressive. But look at this position that you see currently from the Fusion. They're not giving up this high ground, and now
nice
Rio gets booted off. And yeah, that was a great way to reposition Rio. Force him to actually drop down. He's taking so much damage despite that nano boost that kind of stopped their engagement with their plan. And Eileen's gone down with that focusing beam from EQO. It's going to be a nice cleanup though from the Fusion. Despite that big anti onto Mono and Hoppa, you currently still had EQO and Carpe putting in a lot of damage. They've lost Carpe in this fight, but he'll be right back with the bop.
Yeah, the anti-nade's not as effective on an Orisa as you might think. Like, when the Orisa goes gold, you can't headshot her, so that extra damage and the no healing available to the Orisa plus the damage resistance, like, it's so tough to take the Orisa down when she hits the gold. And, I mean, Eileen, he's got 50% towards a blade. It's a beautiful comp that the Fusion are playing, just playing on this cafe side. And they are, the heroes that they're playing, they're like kings and queens of the castle, right? They just sit there on their high throne, just poking away. They use the window now to scatter the rest of the charge. Although Manu did get down from high ground. I wonder if he's just going to go straight back up. Yes, he is, of course. And they're just burning the charge time bank here. This nano is going to be available, I think, before even Eileen gets a blade. It's going to be a nano onto Rio with choice of one, maybe copying Hopper. That's going to be the aim of the game here. It's almost like we're watching Dive Goats all over again. There's the beat to engage.
It's so difficult, too, to try to just force Fusion off of this positioning, but Mandu's gone down despite the barrier that has come on for the charge. Now with the Primal, though, Rio could disrupt the piece, at least in the back line. You currently have the Fusion still, though, having EQO with that duplicate, and now
EQO
retaliating back in the same way. EQO finding two. This was exactly what I was worried about here, Joust, and they're still making the charge play into their game, despite still holding on to now 4 ultimates coming online soon with Eileen having the blade. It's difficult to note that they're still forced to play this long-range fight that the Fusion are forcing out.
Yeah, as soon as Rio jumps in, Vicky, you saw him in Primal Rage. 1,000 health, down to about 400. Like, in an instant, because the focus fire from Manu, from Alarm, from Hopper, just everybody focus firing on Rio. And then the Immortality field going down as well. You have to deal with that before you can kill anybody. There's the nano, there's the blaze, straight into the back. Harpy's dead.
Now you can have fun with this, Eileen. He's going to be able to get 2 here. To follow from choice of 1-2 on the focusing beam on Alarm. Make it a 2-for-2 for both the DPS here on the charge. Eileen loses himself, but it was well worth it with the rest of his team right there to capture the point and get this payload moving finally.
Oh man, that happened in a blink of an eye there. They finally do end up capping the point, but look at the timing. Is Hopper going to touch? No, okay. It looked like he was going to fly over there for a second, but he decides against it. I think positioning here for the Fusion is infinitely more important than trying to take these scrappy fights on the point. Mano is an Orisa. It takes a while to reposition yourself up onto the high ground and just get into kind of a new position. So they don't want to give up too much space. Considering the time bank of the charge as well, smart move from the Fusion. They've got window available to Vicky. The only thing they're going to have to be worried about here is choice of one with the copy from the high ground. You can see now they're trying to escort him that way or just catch out Mano. They're going to dive on him.
Oh, they're going to try to rush. Oh, but they didn't want to overextend at the same time. It looked like almost a bait because you currently have the rest of the Fusion positioned up on the high ground by the building here, maybe trying to get into position where they force him off. Choice of one has that duplicate, but he gets shot by Carpe. Wasn't a headshot, but you saw him get deleted almost instantly. He has Mandu that's going to meet him right back over to the spawn. And great hold here for the Fusion. I like these changes that we're seeing from this team. They're taking a lot of a more of a different approach here in comparison to what we've seen before.
Yeah, it's like Duck Hunt duo, right? You got Carpe and Alarm from the high ground, just peppering you as you try and engage. There's not really much the charge can do unless they try and go on the right-hand side and then leap up. Use that cover, that natural cover around by the lift, that the Philadelphia Fusion aren't going to have angles on you, and then you can go in from there. They are going to at least attempt to do it using the verandas here. They've got a lot of ults. Graviton Surge available. You have to capture a DPS in this, or Toby or Alarm or something, and you just have to instantly kill them. This nano can be invested as well. Looks like they're going to the back line already, but Hopper's trying to go in for the peel.
Oh wow, the way that just played out between Hoppa pushing back Prong there, and especially with the Bob as well. EQO now having the duplicate, he's gonna build up into the Primal. Rio took so much damage and he doesn't get caught with the sound barrier, so he's actually forced out of position here to retreat to the rest of the team. Less than a minute now on board, Jaws, for the Charge to actually push this payload, but finding 2, that's big. DPS gone for the Fusion. Despite Toby having this rally, they could at least keep the tank lineup alive and stall for as long as possible. Now that Choice of One is going to come back from the spawn, but Krong isn't going to go down without a fight. He catches Toby in the grab, make sure that now they're forced to trickle in, and this is just a plan here to force out the Fusion to take a lot longer to regroup and get onto this payload.
Now, it's a nice stall, though, for the Fusion. I mean, Mano and Hopper stayed alive for so long. 25 seconds remains as well, Vicky. The Charge, their win condition right now, Nanoblade jumps straight onto Alarm and Toby. Toby hasn't got the rally, so that can't save him. It's going to be up to this Immortality field, but that's going to be long gone as well, as Rio and Krong are able to rain fire in. Alarm's window can buy a little bit of space and time, but as soon as that gets popped, you best believe that Nanobabe is dashing straight through it. Oh, Corinne's dead! Can't kill Corinne with window!
That's huge! They took away their win condition right there. They were able to narrow down on Corinne and now make it 2. Despite that, Eileen still pops the blade. I mean, he's forced at this point. It's OT, and you still have Fusion coming out on top, cleaning up this point around the Charge.
Wow! The one win condition they had, just Corinne staying alive. He got a headshot through the window. From Alarm, Carbe just sitting right at the back, like I mentioned before. That was their only chance, I felt like, at winning that fight, because that Nanoblade, with Rio jumping in as well, you stood almost no chance against it. You didn't have rally available. My word, what a play from the Fusion. They are 2-0 up right now. Vicky, this was the win that they needed. The Charge, it very much felt like they were able to quickly scoop up a free win here from a Philadelphia Fusion squad that weren't performing well in the last couple of weeks. That is completely flipped on its head now, Vicky, as we might just see a 3-0 in front of our very eyes on the next map.
And that was map number 3. I wasn't surprised to see map number 2 go to a draw because both these teams actually hadn't lost on Hanamura yet, so that was actually really funny. But, you know, I was a little worried there, Joss, because Fusion could have actually got into a worse mindset after that second game, thinking, all right, we had so much in the time bank, we could do this. Unfortunately, it trickled away from them, but luckily they were able to recollect themselves, take a different approach, and take all of Hollywood. We're going to go on to a map number 4, though, and that's going to come on at the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere because this is some more Overwatch League APAC region action.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Guangzhou Charge versus the Philadelphia Fusion. It's currently 2-0 in favor of the Philadelphia Fusion, and we're going on to map number 4 after we saw a draw on map number 2 on Hanamura.
Yes, we are at the Spark homestand as well, mind you. So the Charge are currently playing live from the stadium. It's looking pretty good. Those fans are going to pour in as well as soon as the Spark show up on the screens, that is for sure. Crowd's already getting into the swing of things too. We saw a lot of the cosplay action going on as well. They all look fantastic. Cannot wait for the rest of this homestand. It's going to be great. But back to the match at hand, Vicky. We have the Charge and the Philadelphia Fusion. Charge are about to go out right now. The Fusion look like they want to just take this 3-0. We did have a draw on Hanamura, but the Fusion just looking so clean. Just looking so clean right now. And I did wonder if they were going to copy what NA have been doing recently, but it doesn't really seem like it at all. Right now, it's very much kind of sticking to their own kind of comps. I did think that this was going to happen, but it's also kind of a coin flip. We see a lot of the time one of the regions copying the other, or we're just two completely separate kind of ideas on how you actually want to play the meta. But Carpe and Alarm right now are just absolutely dominating. And EQO as well, his first showing too. He's also looking really good on the Reaper and the Echo. I think him and Choice One right now just kind of butting heads, Vicky. Choice One, definitely one of my Rookie of the Year candidates. EQO is proving a little bit of a tough ask, especially when he's on the Echo too.
Yeah, when you take a look at EQO, I feel like this is the type of change that the Fusion really needed to be able to get that flex DPS in and kind of make a mix-up to what their gameplay is going to be. I like the change of pacing that we had seen in that last map. We were talking about it a little bit right during the break where I was mentioning, man, it's frustrating sometimes to see this team trying to play long distance because they're playing to their strength. They have Carpe on the Ashe. You're forced to approach them. Meanwhile, though, you're using so many of your resources just to force that team out of position. Sometimes it works, sometimes it didn't. At the very end of the day, though, Charge weren't able to take that payload all the way home. It's going to be the Fusion now that have the lead and have that momentum in their favor.
Yeah, and mind you, the Fusion aren't at their full power, right? You're seeing Astro, Shockwave. A lot of these players are actually currently, I was going to say playing in trials, but they're actually just crushing trials right now. I think Astro, every single time he wins a trials game, he's posted a screenshot of them spawn camping people. A little bit unfair, guys. You know, a little bit of punching down going on, all right? I know you're a little bit better than some of the trials teams, but come on now. I mean, there were worries that the Fusion weren't going to perform very well, and they were kind of answered at the very start of the June Joust qualifiers. They weren't doing so hot. Carpe wasn't looking so great, but now EQO's coming in. The team looks ready and raring to go. Warm-up period, quite clearly, Vicky. And even without a lot of their players in the squad being with them in Korea, it doesn't matter, seemingly at all. So right now, we're heading on to Junkertown. This is looking like Carpe, long-range hit scan. More of the same, I think. We're going to see this Orisa, this Diva as well. I'm not imagining a change from the Fusion. And I think the Charge are going to suffer the same kind of fate here, Vicky. If they can't find these small openings with Kariv landing these big bio grenades, these sleeps, it's just really not going to happen. It doesn't feel like all the parts are meshing currently.
Yeah, and that's why you see the Charge trying to work into Kariv and those nano boost engagements, whether it be with the Winston or the Genji that we've seen come out from Eileen. It's unfortunate because it's not working out in their favor. You currently have EQO and Carpe who have enough synergy to be able to waver them off and to not allow them to get displaced by these ultimates. But in general, you still have Alarm, you still have Hoppa, which has been absolutely consistent with those boops, by the way. And now that we're on Junkertown, I'm expecting to see that long range really come into play and into favor for Fusion.
Eileen, you got to remember, though, is a fantastic Widow. So that's going to be the main danger and the main focus, I think, for the Fusion. And Eileen has to pop off here too. The DPS, just everybody from the Charge has to pop off here. You look at their schedule coming up, Vicky, they have Seoul and NYXL as their next matches. Seoul is going to be a tough ask. Seoul have been playing their own game in this meta. We've seen Gesturon back on the hog, just crushing things. NYXL, they have won against them before, but they can also just go on a mad streak. Guangzhou's looking okay on the Widowmaker. Widowmaker, but with a bit of extra time, he could look a superstar like Eileen right here. You see Carpe instantly changing up to Widow now. Yeah, there's no way he's going to let Eileen deal with that. Okay, straight double sniper. Very meta for this map, indeed.
I love to see it. We call this the Junkertown. EQO is gonna swap though to the Reaper, making some adjustments.
Straight back on
but
the
it's
Reaper.
Eileen. Eileen knows though. Eileen is keeping their eye out for Carpe, who has made that swap over to the Widow. It's just a matter of getting into those right angles. You can already see Carpe trying to tear down those shields as they do rotate over to the choke point.
I love this actually from EQO, changing back over to the Reaper so he can kind of protect Mano on the payload. Toby's going to be able to do the same thing as well as Alarm, set up this nice little bunker that I was talking about before.
Oh.
I say set up a little bunker, Choice of One just gets halted in midair and instantly goes down. A nice little quick headshot as well onto Eileen, and Hopper's going hunting.
Oh, and Eileen takes even more damage
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Oh, Hoppa knew! Yeah, he jumped down. He was like, they covered their options right there. You may notice of it. Hoppa was out hunting. Well, he found Eileen, and the EQO didn't let him go and escape too. So it was basically a 3-man squad just chasing them down, making sure that they have some of that extra space. The window now coming in from Alarm, and EQO finding Real. They're finding these pigs. Nice anti, but to what degree is that going to make any effect if you're the Charge when you have the rest of the Fusion cleaning up around your entire team?
It felt like the team roles in the way these comps operate. It completely swapped there, Vicky. It was actually the Fusion that were doing the diving. Carpe hit a small headshot on Eileen, and EQO and Hopper just chased after him. Just completely ignored the dive tanks from the Charge and just ran him down. What an angle, by the way. I love sitting in the bottom right-hand window. Where EQO came out, I love sitting as Widow there as I spawn in, because you can get that angle on the stairs. But yeah, pretty wise to it was Choice of One this time around. Nice little bit of high ground now Carpe has. Choice of One, however, does have that copy available, and he should be just marking Carpe for the entirety of this point.
Well, we were seeing the replay too here, Jaws. Eileen has made the swap now over to the Reaper, so they're trying to bring this fight in more close quarters. Yeah, well, now we could currently see Choice of One with the duplicate too, and with this nano boost, though, you see the attempt. Eileen fights EQO, and EQO's Death Blossom is gone from this fight. Couldn't even be utilized to the degree that it wanted to be, and now you have the Fusion backing off. Toby's called off to the side. Hopefully, if he can get back to the rest of his team, he can. Luckily, Alarm's right there with the Immortality field, but Krong has not let loose. He still has a Diva Bomb. He's going to retreat, and he did manage to make a statement here with the Fusion regrouping.
Choice of One doing the same kind of thing we saw a couple of maps ago, Vicky, where he's ignoring the fact that, okay, yes, the Fusion do have a hit scan in the Widowmaker, but it's not a short-range hit scan. It's not a hit scan that can easily deal with an Echo that's straight up in your face. And he's just marking Carpe for the entirety of this point. It's just going to be him sitting on top of him, because the rest of the Charge are going to be focusing to try and kill the backline of the Fusion. Kill Alarm, kill Toby. EQO's the backline. I love Reaper flanking. It's great, but problem is you're now spotted, so you might have to burn that shift. Payload's getting a lot of movement and a lot of progress, in fact.
Yeah, luckily Hoppa is right there, so they're quite focused on Hoppa, and EQO's positioning is in the back of their minds, but they may want to rework that with Choice of One having the duplicate and now copying the Diva themselves. They're going to get another Diva Bomb rather quickly. Look how quick that ultimate charges, and Eileen found that first pick onto Carpe. That's the number advantage going in favor of the Charge, and here comes the Diva Bomb, isolating everybody over to the side corridor. Toby gets called out by Choice of One as he was isolated away when Mono had thrown down the shield and left this situation. He wanted no business with this, and it's the Charge taking away this time bank away from the Fusion.
Yeah, they've drained a lot of the time out now, Vicky. This is super good for the Charge. They're in a nice spot. They've got Nano. They're going to have Beat. They're going to have Blossom. And they have Self-Destruct. Carpe is now changed over to the McCree, which is something I thought he might do a little while ago, but he clearly wanted to try and make the Widow work. You get one pick, and then your tanks are able to kind of roll up to the high ground. But now Carpe is going to be able to sit behind Shield, play with the rest of his team, play like they have done the last couple of maps in a more defensive style comp. They're going to try and take high ground away from Rio. Choice of One's already pretty low as they rally to engage.
Oh, with the rally, they're trying to hold on to this high ground. Luckily, with the sound barrier, it's going to keep the rest of the Charge in position and keep on this pressure. They found Hoppa. That's big because he tried to pull up the Diva Bomb, but he was called out the moment that he left the mech. Now the Supercharger is going to try to keep Mono's team alive and into this fight, buy some respect, but that's not going to be respect bought as EQO goes down thanks to that nano boost onto Rio, and he's still holding onto the Primal, so great ult management if you are the Charge, and that's going to be a potential another team fight win if they do manage to catch the Fusion sleeping.
Yeah, they're all trapped in the room as well, Vicky. They're in bad news right now. They've received bad news, or they've gotten bad news. I don't know. There's bad news for them, is what I'm trying to say. that supercharge didn't do all too much. Then Anna Winston was able to cleave it down and almost instantly kill it. There's the copy from Choice of One. He's going to earn himself a bongo pretty fast.
Choice of One just juggling through which tank he wants to be just for this moment. He wants to pop off, show them a lesson. It's going to be Hoppa who's forced to back off. He's got the supercharger. Yeah, he's going to pull the trigger on it right before he's forced to swap out, get right back into the Echo out of the duplicate. Eileen has the Death Blossom, and with less than a minute, Carpe's found that first pick onto Choice of One, and that's a big pick at that. Starting off the engagement, it's EQO who's in the back lines. He gets put to sleep.
So
he has the Death Blossom. That was amazing here. You also have Mondo that's right there, and Krong is on EQO because he was asleep. That was a great way to reverse the situation, back in your favor if you're the Guangzhou Charge. Now finding Eileen, though, Toby's trying to reverse this so that way the rest of Fusion are enabled. It's Mono's taking a quick nap. He'll get the supercharger rather quickly, but it's too busy with Carpe getting a 3K. He's tired of it. He doesn't want to play around anymore. He just wants to get this payload over to point B.
He's sick of being camped as the Widowmaker. Strangers opens the career, he clicks a few heads, and there you go. Point 2 has been reached by the Fusion. That was a disrespect, Sleep Dart, or self-destruct from Krong there. You pointed it out, but Karif slept EQO, and Krong just sat on top of him, used that self-destruct, instantly killing him. The charge, being able to peel for Karif for so long was so nice, but that has to end at some point. You're going to run out of amp, you're going to run out of speed, nade, defense matrix, and Carpe comes in. Karif's going to throw the nade in. Nice little anti onto Hopper. Immortality field has been forced. Eileen's going to have the nano at his back as well as the Death Blossom's available too.
Like the position that we currently have from the Charge. You're not trying to overextend. Now trying to teleport onto the high ground. Eileen was ready. He has the Death Blossom. He's not forced out of position just yet, and he actually teleports onto the wing right in front of him. I think he wanted to go for the balcony, but the Deadeye from Carpe, you have to watch out. Eileen got into his line of sight, quite literally trying to contest it. Maybe wanted to shut down Carpe before he pulled the trigger, but that was really risky. Hopla gets antied. He's taking a lot of damage. Toby had utilized the rally here to keep the rest of the team alive, and successfully so after they found Karif. So that's a big pick, and they're still holding it forward on the payload. While they are going to be able to catch Krong off guard, they're going to demech him. He will come back with his ultimate, but this is going to be a team fight win going in favor of the Fusion.
Oh, there's the blitz. And he's dead. Well, there you go. Genji in 2021, everybody. Genji in 2021.
Oh, no.
Oh, my word.
Oh, that is not what I wanted to see. It was unfortunate. He just came and like flying in, and then he swapped them around like a mosquito. Completely sent them back to the spawn. Karev is going to meet him there with making a swap over to the Moira. It may be too late now. Less than 10 seconds to get this payload moving to the finish line. If they can successfully do so, they do. Trying to get in some time, and then it was a good hold from the Charge. But the way that ending had played out, it didn't seem very Charge-like, I would say. It seemed like they fell apart at the very end with the Fusion just managing to get a better position around the Charge instead.
Oh, most definitely. And that fight previous to that last one where the blade came out, a lot of that was actually on Eileen's positioning. Mano put his shield down as Eileen ran through and used Death Blossom. He instantly died to the Deadeye because he didn't receive the beat from Mandu. Mandu hit the beat on the ground, but Mano's shield was actually blocking the line of sight from that beat. Eileen received none of it. The Death Blossom, which was supposed to be massive, turned out to be pretty small. A drop in the ocean of damage as Carpe executed him with the High Noon. It was super unfortunate. Eileen just going way too aggressive, way too quickly, and Mandu not being able to land the sound barrier on him. It would have been a very different story, I feel, if he was able to actually get a lot of that sound barrier damage, the Death Blossom damage off, because the rest of Fusion were so clumped up in that room.
It's all about that positioning too that we're seeing. I like the way that the Fusion are playing this, but the way that the Charge held that defense really seems like this map could go into anyone's favor. Depending on how this attack goes for the Charge, if it's something similar to what we had seen from Hanamura, this team could definitely make those adjustments necessary. Like the way that Eileen's just starting off on Widow again, probably trying to find that first pick, but Carpe is now going to try to match him with a Widow himself coming out of the gates.
Okay, he's going to switch over to Genji, so they just want to go pure dive, just jump on the back line, try and kill Alarm or Toby, or even Carpe. Carpe's going to be able to sit all the way back, though. Very, very far on the horizon, almost. So he doesn't get instantly killed by the dive. Nice little bit of high ground take here as well. But the position that Fusion want to hold here is going to be this corner. So everybody trickles into the line of sights of Carpe. This is where he wants to be. On top of this little water tower, just taking pop shots at people.
And those that could contest him are going to be choice of one. If he can get into position and try to isolate Carpe, that could enable the rest of the charge to close out this gap and get this payload moving through this choke point that you currently have Mono and Hoppa sitting on. You also have to deal with EQO, who's putting on a lot of pressure, but luckily Karif does have that Nano Boost online, and they're going to opt to go for a different rotation. If they can successfully do so, that Nano Boost is going to go onto Rio, and they can try to find Carpe offside, and that's exactly what they're going to do, but Alarm is right there to help Pew for Carpe. Mono's taking so much damage, and it's EQO who's found that first pick onto Eileen, while Rio is trying to finally get closer to Carpe's line of sight. Carpe is so busy just dealing with Mazu, and Karif is gone, yeah. And both supports now are gone from the charge. You are so focused down on Carpe that now your backline has just been decimated.
Yeah, unbelievable boop. Oh, well, okay, a little bit of BM there. Hopper giving a quick wave real quick. Yeah, protect the president there from Carver. He just sits there, just starts shooting people. What do the charge want to do? They want to kill him. Everybody jumps on him. They nano the Winston to land on top of him. He gets booped up in the skies. He lands. He jumps. He misses. He sits on the ground. Carper uses grapple away, and then Mandu ends up going down. Like, everybody from the Fusion know who to protect. Carpe's killed Karib now through window. There's nothing you can do at this point if you're the charge. You have to back off. You have to reset. You're hoping for Nanoblade here. I think that's what really you're aiming for. Not much else. I mean, you can send Rio into the backline, but he's going to get torn apart. As soon as that happens, Toby can hit the rally, or even Mano lays down Supercharger and make Rio's life a whole lot harder.
It's just incredible to see this whole economy that we're also having from the Fusion. You can see the way that they're just playing this so patiently, almost like a bait and punish if you are the charge and just trying to play into Fusion's game plan. Now they have line of sight of where they're trying to rotate to, and it's going to be the Primal activated from Rio.
He's looking for Carpe.
Yeah, he can't find him though, and he's not trying to overextend at the same time, but as long as he's in the Primal, he can just get right back to his team. It's so difficult though when you can't isolate Carpe and everyone's protecting him. Hoppa with the Diva Bomb, and Choice of One has made this duplicate possible. Now it's Choice of One's turn to not only be the Diva, but throw out this Diva Bomb into these backlines. They found EQO, and so this is a great start for the charge to get things moving for the payload. He finds the way to get through with the Diva Bomb, but the focusing beam on Alarm is what closes things out. Eileen's enabled in the front lines while everyone's busy protecting Carpe. You got the Dragonblade that is too busy making an impact for the rest of the charge onto the Fusion.
Alarm protected Toby for quite some time there as well. They survived so much damage with that immortality field and just everything thrown at you. But that's what you have to do if you're the charge. You just have to all hit Q at once, apart from Rio, who used his ult fairly early on in the fight. And hopefully you can distract or just keep the healers occupied long enough for that Nano Blade to go to town. Alarm had to use the immortality field himself, couldn't use it for the tanks, and they got torn to pieces by that blade.
That was a little scary situation if you're Eileen. He had to utilize that deflect there, but he got pulled right back out. Luckily though, he's alive and the Diva Matrix is right there to help him out. EQO doesn't want to give up just yet. He's forced out thanks to Krong being right there as a threat. And just the way that they're trying to get into position here, trying to split some attention from the charge. Krong now taking a little bit of an off angle. The rest of his team trying to approach those from the other side. Currently have two ultimates online if you are the fusion between Alarm and EQO, as well as Carpet gonna have vision very soon. Karib also has that nano boost here, Jaws, and may want to put that onto Rio or hold onto it for Eileen. And now the window's gonna come in. Yeah, they're gonna pull the trigger on these ultimates. EQO and Mono have found these two picks. The number advantage going in favor of the fusion, and no sustainability if you're the charge. Luckily now they're pushing far into their spawn. Maybe not trying to overextend too much, especially since they have to get into position for Mono.
Yeah, classic little pincer maneuver there. Alarm with a window on one side. The rest of the charge try to escape using the speed boost. Who was on the other side waiting for him? Well, it was EQO. There's a copy Diva with a self-destruct. So you can't really go anywhere, really. So that was just Charge going for a big old-fashioned reset. Building up towards the Nano Blade, though. They got the Primal 2. Choice of One is already dead. Can't defend Matrix the beam, unfortunately. They'll probably just wait for him to respawn at this point. They got 1 minute and 30 remaining. Oh, I take back. There's the Blade. There's the Nano.
And yep, and that's what they were waiting for in that perfect moment. It's found Toby, and thanks to Alarm, he goes down, and Rio goes in for the follow-up, but the deflect from Eileen, if that wasn't a way to make a statement. I don't know what is Jaws. The deflect on the headshot, that was a nice little showcase from Eileen. Go back to where you came from, Carpe. Luckily, they have some time now to push this payload to point B.
Oh my word. Carpe's doing the classic. I'm going to time the deflect, so I headshot him as the pixel, as the frame he comes out of it and headshots himself. Classic maneuver. Okay, let's have a look at Charge though, back to reality. They have so many ults for this next fight. The idea here is Mano put down our supercharger, attack from the high ground, hopefully Alarm can open up a window, but they're going to charge in with a beat first.
Yeah, now keeping that sustainability alive. They have so many ultimates to work with here. The Rally's going to try to contest that, but they've lost the QO and they lost a duplicate potential chance to actually turn this fight back into their favor. Luckily, they found the pick onto Karib, and you're seeing so much damage coming out onto the Charge. Choice of One, though, being the threat that he is on this duplicate, he is on this D.Va, now he's charging to Toby and taking him out of this fight. He has a D.Va bomb that he can also pull the trigger for, but he just wants to deal enough damage on Tamana before pulling the trigger on it. Doesn't find anybody, but EQO comes right back and gets the revenge with the focusing beam onto Choice of One.
Oh my god, they're going to be able to defend. Someone needs to be able to touch it from the Charge.
Oh, no one there, the D.Va bomb to control space, and the Deadeye, you can't do anything, you're Mondo, and you can't get back. The Deadeye fights him, and now nobody left from the Charge. It's going to be the Fusion closing things out, and that's all she wrote. Philadelphia Fusion take the series 3-0.
Oh, a 3-0 from the Fusion. A new lease of life for the team. EQO steps in, performs big. My word, what a fantastic showing. They needed this as well, Vicky. They desperately needed this. They are 0-2 and now 1-2 currently in the June Joust qualifiers. If they didn't find the win here, they were most certainly not going to make it. They can breathe a sigh of relief for the time being, but it's not over just yet. They still need to claw their way into the June Joust. And now that three-way tie as well, mind you, has been broken up. The Charge no longer on 1-1. They are 1-2. Not entirely sure on the map differential there, but that will be updated on our leaderboard for sure. My word. I didn't expect the series to go this way at all. I thought the Charge were going to be able to take it from a lackluster Fusion, but prove me wrong completely. The Philadelphia Fusion with a brand new lease of life.
Yeah, I really like the way that EQO was played into this roster too. Of course, this was his first showcase that we were really able to see his talent come out with the rest of the Fusion. We noted that Fusion, they had a great competition in the May Melee, but something happened, something my hero bands kind of trickled into what Fusion just crumbled away with, and unfortunately they didn't really have a strong start in the June Joust. And with this win, they could finally get the ball rolling in their favor. They could finally get that momentum necessary to get more team wins under their belt.
Yeah, and our player of the match presented by Xfinity is going to be EQO. He got his first chance to play this year. He's feeling pretty good with himself. He came out just performing like you would, you'd imagine. I thought maybe, I wouldn't say rusty, but you wouldn't expect him to just pop off like this after not playing for quite some time. Came out on the McCree, found 2 kills instantly, and he kind of set the tone, he set the pace for the Fusion in this series. His Echo's looking solid, his Kree's looking good. EQO is back, baby.
I love it. I love to see too how they're playing into this meta, making sure that EQO could absolutely shine on the Echo. We saw the rush composition that we'd seen earlier from NA come out in full force, and also with Carpet getting enabled and forcing out this long distance fight though, when they made some of these adjustments going into these different maps, that's kind of the name of the game, and that's kind of the thing that we've been noticing from a lot of these teams, especially when you take a look at the APAC region, which favors more that Orisa composition that we've seen witnessed from Mono.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, you slot it in quite easily. I can imagine this is the sort of thing we're going to be seeing. It's more dependent on the maps and then how the team likes to play, but Philadelphia Fusion, they found what they like. EQO on the Echo. Look at those stats too. 13 kills, sticky bomb kills, 13 focusing beams, 37 at limbs, almost 25k hero damage as well. Good choice for MVP for sure, or player of the match even for sure. And I am nervous for this next series, Vicky. I mentioned at the very top of the show that there's been a lot of tiebreakers, like a lot of tiebreakers right now that need to be shuffled around. Three teams, we're sitting at 1 apiece. Charge now at 1 and 2. Can Seoul and the Hunters get out of that rut as well? I think we're going to jump to a quick break, guys. Don't go anywhere. We've got a new series coming up soon.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Xfinity, the preferred internet provider of the Overwatch League.
You can.
Yeah. Welcome back, everyone, and we're back with our bold predictions, as we usually do at the end of every series. Now, I want to know your bold predictions first here, Jaws, before I say mine. I feel like maybe it's not too bold. I feel like I would say this, actually, but maybe not after the performance we just saw, but I'm just curious to hear your bold predictions before I say mine.
My bold predictions presented by Pringles Wavy. You know what? Maybe mine's not so bold. Now I'm scared that you've said that too, because I may copy you.
Oh,
I'm
wait,
nervous.
Okay. Is it with the fusion?
No. Then I'm good, yes?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, good. I was going to say, I think Choice of One, maybe winning Rookie of the Year this year. That's going to be my bold spread. Maybe not so bold. He's been looking pretty fire.
Yeah, I wouldn't say. I would definitely. That was actually something else that was on my mind, but I wasn't sure if that was so bold. I mean, I made mention of it on commentary, where he is definitely one of those contenders for Rookie of the Year. So for those of you guys that are now seeing a Choice of One in full force, definitely keep your eyes out on him as a player. But I would say my bold prediction is that the Fusion are going to make a comeback this month. Now that EQO is back in the fray, they're going to feel a lot more confident and comfortable, and we're going to see a comeback from Fusion.
Yeah. No, agreed, yeah. Maybe not so bold, but hey, it's still a bold. It could still be a bold prediction, because they haven't really looked great up until this point. But today, I think definitely turning a new leaf. Like 100%. EQO looks so comfortable, and the rest of Fusion look mighty comfortable too.
Yep, and that's going to be our bold predictions presented by Pringles. Guys, don't go anywhere, though. At the other side of this break, we're going to bring you guys another series for the APAC region Overwatch League here, and the action is starting up soon.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles. Stay in the game.